are powerful allies and change makers in the movement against gender-based violence.
In this series, we have honest conversations about our encounters with such violence.
Sharing stories of what we have seen, faced, and learned as both survivors and observers.
This podcast is for young people, but for all people. This is I Am.
I am resilient.
Welcome to our second episode of the I Am series. My name is Sharon Adong once again, and I am here with another special guest. She will introduce herself, tell us more about herself, what she does, why she is resilient. So, tell us about yourself.
Okay, thanks. Mutoni Faiby. I'm a graduate of social work and social administration from Akaya University. I say I'm resilient because I've managed to cope up with a challenging situation that I went through during my secondary school life. I'm a firstborn in a family of 12 children, and being the firstborn, I was the first one to come to school. Mm-hmm. And with this education that my dad wasn't financially stable, he didn't have enough money. So because of the cultural rigidity, they have a perspective and thinking that girl child education is not that important. Mm-hmm. So at some point when we would hustle with getting fees, we would be like, what if I get you married? And some of my uncles and aunties would suggest to him, but she's now 16. She's 16, she can be a mother. Mm-hmm. So, and personally I wanted to study hard, but at some point I felt maybe I would do Form 4, and after I do what? I get married, because that was the only available option.
That was the trend.
That's why I say I'm resilient, because I managed to hustle it out, and here I am, I'm done with my bachelor's degree.
Done with your bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
Okay, apart from the experience of going through the parents saying maybe she's 16, she can get married, what other forms of violence or what experiences did you go through?
Okay, the experiences I went through, first of all, was that of child marriage, of I narrowly escaped to child marriage.
Child marriage, yes.
As I told you, being 16 and you're the firstborn family, I grew up in an environment or in a community where child marriage is seen as normal. And almost all my age mates in Form 3, they were dropping out to child marriage. Yes. As of now, I think we have only 2 who are in the same class that have managed to go up to campus. The rest of them married at Form 3, Form 4, and actually some at during their Form 2. So with that hustling background, my dad would sometimes hustle, and the the fees is there, sometimes it's not there. So at some point, there people would come at home, like, oh, your daughter is fit for marriage. Can we give you some cows? And because my dad was somehow poor, I should say, would look at that as an opportunity. Now, if I get 8 cows, that can push me and I'm benefiting, so I can exchange for cows. And at some point, one time my aunt had sit me down and was like, now, you girls, even after school, you're not going to do a lot, you're not going to do too much. After you're going to marry, so it's okay to drop now. The good thing, you can read, you can write, so it's okay.
Write your name?
Yes, you can read and write. So even if you marry, and there are people who didn't, actually she used to give me an example. Me, I didn't even go to P1, but I'm here. I'm well, I have my family. But as someone who didn't have anyone to look up to, because almost all my cousins were illiterate, my parents, I would look at some of my colleagues at school, their families were okay, their parents are educated, and I feel like, well, I also have to study. So with that, I turned a deaf ear to getting married. Yes. And at some point, I wanted to run away from home because the pressure on my dad, okay, for him personally, he didn't want it, but because of the pressure from the uncle, from the aunties, he had accepted and agreed. So there was that guy who had agreed to pay, I think, 10 cows by then. I think it was 2013.
At 16.
For me to get married. So when I learned of it, My mom somehow didn't support the idea because the guy was a drunkard, something like that. So I was like, no, even if she's to marry, but not that particular. Yes. So she was like, me, I can help you. You escape to your other. Okay, she's my mom's sister.
Okay, to your aunt.
To my maternal aunt. Yeah. So, but after my exams for Form 3, I performed well. One of the teachers was like, wow. So I shared my challenge with with one of the teachers.
Yes.
I think the teacher shared with the head teacher and they gave me a half bursary. So I told my mom, if you can only raise for me 270, in a term, yeah, because we're paying about 540.
Yes.
So the teacher would, the school would top up. So I managed to get school fees for Senior 3 and Senior 4.
Yes.
After which, still I thought my education had stopped because we didn't have money at home. And being 12 children, by that time I think we were like 8 or 9. So all of us were in school, and we had poor schools in my home area, the village where I come from. So we had to go to boarding schools, which are somehow expensive to my dad.
Yes.
So after Form 4, I thought again education is done. So when I was still there, our results, before our results were out, one of my teachers told me about BRAC. There is some organization called BRAC.
BRAC.
Yes, BRAC. So I applied for BRAC. Luckily enough, I got a first grade. So when I got a first grade, they took me on. They sponsored my Form 5 and Form 6. So from there, and it was because of determination, because I would get a lot of this empowering negative comments. Now they would tell my dad, you're there, you're paying for, you're educating a girl child. She's not going to help you anywhere. But now the problem in my family, we are 8 girls and only 4 boys. And the boys actually, And now you're looking at all useless people. You're wasting your money. So, and for me, the firstborn to the fifthborn, we are all girls. So still, it means no one of us would get the chance. So I was like, now I would share with my teachers, and they would tell me, if you do not manage to study, none of your siblings will study. So now I started looking at myself as to struggle. I would try to struggle hard to be an example to the rest. So now after I got that sponsorship in the school, I was like, now
so it was successful. Yes, it was a successful application.
Yes, because they had to come home, do some verification. They would look at the household. Of course, we didn't have a house. We had a grass thatched house by that time with no compound. Actually, the environment wasn't good enough, and they realized I couldn't manage the school fees for A-level, so they sponsored me for 2 years. After which, it's when I got government, because I managed to get 19 points. But it was a hassle. You be home, you're worried now this time when I go for holidays, will I really come back? Won't I get married? Won't I
find a man already waiting with 20 cows?
I know. So during Form 6 A-level, I never used to go back for holidays. Because all my aunties were negative about it. They're like, no, you see, she has only Form 4, but she's too proud. She feels she has made it in life. So what if she gets to university? She will be the person who will not even be greeting us. So they were not happy about it, because for them, all their aim and their target was me getting married. Yeah.
Okay. So my dear, you've shared with us the pressure of getting married. Is there any kind of pressure you received apart from the marriage pressure?
The other pressure maybe I received was basically from also my siblings, because now being a firstborn, everyone who would be broke, be challenged, they don't have books at school, they don't have even the school fees as late, they would call me. Because I remember in my Form 5, I was studying very far from home. So I had a phone, and I would keep it with the matron. So you'll be there, your sister calls me, I don't have books, my books are used up, I do not have school fees. Now they told me they've chased me from school, And also you have those the pressure from maybe from those people also who want to marry. They come, you see me, I can take care of you, I can even pay your fees if you want to study. So you be there, you're confused. Okay, you pretend, okay, not pretending, you feel you know what you want, but getting to where you want to be was quite challenging. Yes. And I had no mentors in my life. I do not have anyone to look up to because I was the firstborn. Yes. And some of my cousins who have gone to school, they're in Rwanda, they weren't in Uganda. Yeah. So I had no one to look up to, apart from maybe a few teachers, and you know how sometimes teachers also don't care. So I had a lot of pressure from home, from my siblings, balancing academics. So I remember in Form 5, I used to have a lot of depression. I would be in school, most of the time I'd be crying, I'd be like, oh God, will I ever go through this situation? Because it was really so hard. Even if I lacked scholastic materials, I didn't have anyone to call. I'd be like, now my dad is overwhelmed because of the very many children he has, so he can't provide for all of us. And even if I lacked something, I would pretend that as if me, I'm not lacking. And I would spend the whole time without even calling my dad. But I would share with a few teachers, maybe they buy me books, sometimes they give me some pocket money. Yeah, that's how I managed. But I had a lot of pressure. I would look at, there is a pressure I had mostly was in my high school. I was in a school where most of the students were from well-to-do families. Yes. So on visitation day, my dad, I think it would cost him like 80,000 shillings, Ugandan shillings. Yes, 80. So from to and fro, that would be a lot of money. So he would never come for visitation. Now you see all these other students are being visited, their whole families with the cars, they park, they enjoy. On visitation days, I would even fall sick. I know. Yeah, I'd be like, wow, I'm in this school. I do not have any sister, not any brother, no one at all. And I was a prefect. You would be there on the microphone calling students, son, so your mother is looking for you, son, and no one is going to
this. Office. Yes, so your parents is at the gate.
So after you go to I would go back to the dormitory and cry. Sorry. I'd be like, wow. I'd be like, now I have to work hard so that in future, my kids don't suffer. My siblings don't suffer. And up to now, I try my best. Whenever it's visitation for my siblings, I try my best. I go because it would torment me.
Something different.
Yes, I would be like, now, I think I'm not loved. I think my family is useless. I think I do not have any support. And I was seeing myself struggling to study, but I'm like, now, after this, where am I going to? Where will I even get money for campus? But I would somehow say, let me read hard, you never know. I can go through it, I can get government. Maybe I can, you never know, anyone can touch on my end, but without that, I would be so depressed because even getting friends in high school was very hard for me. Coming from a very poor district, a humble background, I reached the school during orientation and I didn't have anyone that maybe were coming from the same district. People were from all the schools, Wakisa and Kampala. I was the only one from deep in Chankwanzi. So with that experience, I had a lot of depression and I spent the whole term without even getting a friend. Because also my English by then wasn't that good. You know how when you've studied in the villages, yes. I couldn't even express myself. So I faced a lot of challenges in my high school because of changing environment. But yet in the village where I was, yes, I would have challenges of fees, but I would fit in the environment because the students there were all the same.
Same district, some background,
yes,
maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, please. So how you've gone through all the kind of pressure that you came from all directions. So how did this impact on you?
Okay, yeah, to some extent I think it has made me someone who's strong. And I remember I used to be weak-hearted. Something small would happen, I cry, I'd be stressed. But with all maneuvering and going through all this, it has somehow made me strong enough to overcome all the situations and challenges that I meet in my life or face in my life. Because now, knowing that I have no connection, I come from a humble background, I learn to respect each and everyone I meet in my life. Because I do not know who can connect me, who is my point of entry to the next level. So because of coming from a humble background, I learned that I have to respect and socially interact well with each and everyone I meet in my life, because I don't know who my next step is. I don't know who's going to connect me or link me there. So, and I tried, however much I was maybe not this person who was, I used to be too humble, too calm. I would even look at you, even if I feel I would love to be a friend, I couldn't express it. So I started learning, okay, trying to be social. I talked to people, I tried to get friends, so because I knew without friends, me and my family, it wouldn't get me anywhere. So I started embracing friendship, getting into relationship with other people, trying to get along with anyone, provided yes.
Okay.
So, and also the other thing, it helped me appreciate diversity. How? I've seen people from good or well-to-do families, they come at school and they are not doing well, but after they have their connections, they have good jobs because of the family they are coming from. So it taught me a lesson that I should, if I get such a friend who is from a well-to-do family and I'm from a humble background, yes, we can be friends, we can interact, but there should be a boundary, because there are those students who would come and they're from well-to-do families, they do not care about studies, and if they are friends, you end up also messing up. So I was like, wow, even if I want maybe Sharon to be my friend, but because for her, she knows even after school, even if she doesn't perform well, she can get to HS, she can even go to university. So I would be like, now it means my point of entry is only reading hard. Because apart from books and reading hard, I didn't have any other social network. I didn't have finances, and I didn't have role models. I didn't have mentors in my life. So all the things that were happening.
You had the brains.
Yes. Because I remember after Form 4, I told you I had the first grade.
Yes.
And I had performed well almost in all the subjects, but I even lacked guidance on what course or what combination to do for my A-level.
Yes.
Now you would reach and be like, oh, I do Hague. Now should I do sciences? Will I manage them? I remember my first course I wanted to do, my first combination I wanted to do PEM. That's physics, economics, and mathematics. Now I'm like, these science courses are not that easy. I'll take on this course, and in the middle somewhere I get maybe 10 points or even 6, or even, because there are some courses that are not that easy. And since I knew I couldn't get most of the school requirements for the science courses, I had to go for arts. But I only went for that because I lacked guidance. I was just studying. I didn't know what I wanted to become, but I was struggling. I just want to become someone great, but I didn't have direction.
Like you said, you had no one to look up to, no one to mentor you and all that.
So I didn't have direction. I was just studying to pass. Then I go to the next level. So when I reach the next level, it's when I be like, now, yes, I've come to A-level, what am I going to do? And I do that course without also in mind of which course now do I want to do for university. Yeah, so that's how challenging my life was. I lacked direction. I would just maneuver through things, but I really didn't have a sense of direction. Just that I had that determination. I want to be great. I want to be exemplary. I want at some point my family stand and be like, oh, if they need any help, they need any support, Phoebe is there for us. Yeah, but I didn't have direction.
Indeed, Phoebe is resilient. I can say you are resilient. Whatever you said, whatever we've talked about, it shows a lot of resilience in you. So Phoebe, apart from the support of the teachers, did you have any other person to support you? Did you have someone who would stand with you during this time?
I doubt there was any support. Apart from maybe sometimes, my parents are somehow religious. After me challenging them and showing them I'm not interested in getting married, and I said no to child marriage, I refused, I resisted. After my performance, when I got a first grade in senior 4, they were somehow also motivated. So when I get the 19 points in Form 5, Form 6, now the attitude towards the girl child education started changing. So now I would be there hustling, but my parents now were somehow supportive. You'd be like, now Daddy, I need this, and Dad, I can get a first class, I can do this. So somehow they also became supportive along the way, because you're saying, wow, maybe you never know she will succeed. You never know, she might have a bright future. So my dad's attitude towards education started changing. Actually, now he's in my village, he's the only one who is positive about the girl child education. Though I'm trying also to sensitize some other parents in my community, but she's actually number one. We also be like, you see, my girl is becoming someone great. My daughter is becoming important. Some of you see her, because I remember my Form 6, I got 19 points, and it was published in the newspapers, and those people saw even on TVs. So the whole village started coming and say, hey, wow, education is good. So they are embracing that. And so the teachers are the ones who helped me and supported me mostly. But also maybe now after my A level, even my parents somehow became supportive. And now, up to now, whenever my dad has some problems, maybe he needs some support, or he's going to make certain decisions, he will have to call me. Phoebe, I was looking for school, maybe one of your siblings has finished Form 4, now which school do you think? So he's positive about education now, and he really encourages other parents to do. But without the support of the teachers, no, I didn't have any other support, because I didn't know anyone. I have two uncles who have at least gone to school, but they're all in Rwanda, and my cousin brother, and they were staying in Rwanda. So they would rarely come to Uganda, and I didn't have any other family member to talk to. Then also, coming from a humble village and a humble district, a poor district, you don't have you don't have neighbors who have made it. Maybe you would look up, you would be the first one. Everything you go, you're the pioneer. So I really didn't have anyone to help me.
Okay. So Phoebe, what message would you have for a young person growing up and going through the same story that you went through?
The only message I would have for young people is being determined.
So thank you so much, Phoebe, for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you. To our audiences, you've heard Phoebe is resilient, and to the young girls, you can resist child marriage. You can make it like Phoebe has made it up to the university. She has finished her education, and she has inspired a number of girls even in her village. So thank you so much for watching us today. We can't wait for the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you for listening in today. If you or someone you know is facing such violence and needs help, please check in the episode description for resources.
This podcast is part of Play Talk Change, a virtual conference around serious gaming, research, and gender-based violence. Follow us on social media and check us on our website for other updates.
If you would like to come on the podcast and share your story, please email us at playtalkchange.ni3@gmail.com.
Don't forget to subscribe and register for the conference.